Hi, my name's Jonathan Hicks. I'm back at the Dice Cup, and this evening I'm joined by
Steve.
And we are playing The Game Face to Face, which is essentially the two-player version of The Game, which is the worst named game ever. But the original game is like a cooperative game, but in this one you're competing against each other, but it's a very similar idea. So you have several different piles, and in fact you each have two piles. So this is my going down pile. So on here it starts at 60, and I have to play cards here that go lower than 60 each time. So you can see I played a 54, then played 52, and this is my going up pile. So it starts at 1, and you have to play cards that are higher on here. Now Steve has equivalent sets on his, so he's going up, playing higher cards here, and going down on those ones. Now when it's your turn, you have to play at least 2 cards. You can play more than 2 cards, and after you've played some cards, you're drawing them potentially. But in terms of what you're trying to do, you either try and play a lot of cards. If you manage to get through your entire deck and play all your cards, then you win the game. Alternatively, if you get completely stuck and can't play, because after a while you're going to find none of your cards are going to be low enough to play on this pile or high enough to play on this pile, and you just get stuck. You can't play 2 cards, so you lose the game, and the other person then wins. That's kind of what you're aiming for. But on your turn, so looking at this, I'd be like, well, going down here, 52, you don't want to make it go down too much. I can't play the 59 on that because that's higher, it's got to be lower. If I played the 27 on that, that would be disastrous, so I definitely don't want to do that. But looking at this other pile, this is quite low. I could play the 6 on it, so it's only going up by a little bit. And then maybe I could play the 11. But one important thing here is you're allowed to play, like the original The Game, you can play 10 in the wrong direction. So if I played this 21, I could then, although I'm supposed to be playing higher on this pile, actually play 10 lower. It has to be exactly 10 lower, but that would be fine. Now if you only play cards on your piles, at the end of your turn, you would draw 2 cards. You've got to be careful about this. Incidentally, these cards are hidden. Steve can't see which cards I've got when I'm playing for real. But you're going to find if you play lots of cards and you're only playing on your own piles, then you're going to draw fewer and fewer cards, as it were. You're going to really struggle if you haven't got many cards in your hand. So what you can do is play 1 card each turn on your opponent's piles, but you have to make them better. So what I could do, for example, is play my 59 on this one. Steve's trying to make this go lower and lower. So if I play it on him, I'm actually helping him because it goes up. And if you do that, then when it's the end of your turn, you can draw as many cards as you need to refill your hand back up to 6. So after a while, you find you want to sort of play a card in your opponent's pile in order to draw back up to 6. So that's pretty much it. You're kind of racing, if you like, to get through your cards, or alternatively trying to make it difficult for your opponent and hoping that they're going to become stuck and lose. What do we think?
Yeah, I like it. I was a fan of the original game. Jonathan's right in terms of, it felt like in this particular game we just played, I tried to race off. I played 4 or 5 cards a couple of turns early, playing 1 card in Jonathan's pile to draw back up, and then he spent the game playing defensively, trying not to improve my cards unless he could help it, and I ended up going bust because I couldn't play anymore. But I've played games where the converse has happened. Someone's raced so far ahead that the other person feels that they have to try and catch up. And then you get more of a race situation. Here, Jonathan's playing a lot more cagey. That's quite nice. I think a bit like the original version of the game, it's a cooperative game, that you could be dealt a losing hand effectively. Someone would just get draw up the hand of cards. They would have a disastrous turn where they wrecked it for everyone, and they'd go, "I'm sorry, guys," and they feel really bad for everyone else in this cooperative game that they just made a pile go up or down by 30 or something. And I think, to some extent, you can get the same thing here. So you can play tactically correct and lose, because when you draw the cards off the top of the deck, you just get a hand of cards in the 20s and 30s when your piles are in the single digits in the 50s, which is kind of what happened to me this game. But the game's quick enough that you can just say, well, whatever, that's bad luck or variance, and just play them all.
Rating?
I think I actually prefer the original The Game. I think the cooperative nature of it made it feel a bit better. But I'm happy to play this game. I go it 6.5.
Okay. Yeah, I really like the original The Game as well. And again, I like the cooperative nature of it. As Steve says, it's a little bit prone to luck in a sense that you can just get stuffed if you don't have the right cards. And this has a lot of similarities, really, with that original game. Personally, though, I prefer this one. It's just 2-player, but it's a nice, quick 2-player game, if you like. And although it does feel quite swingy in a sense that it's very dependent on what card you draw. I mean, you could just really get done in just because of the card you happen to draw. But I find, nevertheless, when it's your turn, you do have quite a few interesting decisions. Like, I could put this card here, but is that a better trade-off than maybe improving his pile? Like, if you only improve his pile by 5, is that better than reducing your pile by 10 kind of thing? So those kind of decisions, I just found I was completely engaged all the way through. So I'd very happily play this one. I think I'd be on a 7 out of 10. All right, thanks for watching. That was The Game, Face to Face.